Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking at one of the Druid uniques known as the Mad Wolf's Glee. The Mad Wolf's Glee is a unique item that you can find in both Sacred and Ancestral, and only starts to drop in World Tier 3 and above. The Mad Wolf's Glee is pretty interesting. Let's go over the stats first, and then we'll talk about the special ability at the end. It has a variable physical damage between 7.5 to 15%, and it's also important to note that as you find this at a higher item level, these stats will increase. So there are actually breakpoints, and I actually have a video coming out on that, for like the effects on an item, on how they increase. And the higher eye level the item is, the better those effects can be, to the point where you can get like some pretty cool things like +4 ranks on an ability, which is pretty cool. So keep that in mind as you find this, that yours may be a little bit better, and it's not important like what percent exactly it rolled, but more or less what, range it rolled. Like for instance, right now I got 12.7 physical damage, and that is a mid-roll between 7.5 and 15, so it's a mid-roll on that. The poison damage also rolls between 7.5 to 15. And then it also has 11.8% damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned, which is very nice. As you can see, it seems to be directed specifically at a poison-based character. We also have a movement speed bonus between 5.3 and 11.3%. Now, it would be really nice as a poison character to get the 15 poison and the 15% damage reduction while enemies are poisoned, which would be very nice. And also the movement speed. Being perfectly clear that I think the movement speed would be great because the Druid's pretty slow. Now, as you upgrade it, it's going to go up, obviously. So what you're really looking for in the end game is something like an Ancestral version of this with 5 upgrade ranks. So something like an 820 with 25 plus. So the maximum level that you could probably get this at is 845, which is going to be pretty nice. The special effect on this is your werewolf form is now your true form, and you gain 2 ranks on all of your werewolf skills. This, of course, can be socketed twice, so I do have 2 sapphires in mind, but you may want something else depending on how you're building your character. This particular character is not a werewolf right now, despite the fact that he's wearing Mad Wolf's Glee, which just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because he's supposed to be always a werewolf, right? Well, whenever you walk into town, he automatically turns into a human. And as soon as you walk out of town, like literally the second that you walk out of town, he immediately transforms back into a werewolf. Like it's instantaneous. This becomes his true form now. Now, in the past, if you've utilized a druid at any point, a regular druid, you notice that when you use your werewolf skill, you turn into a werewolf, and then after a brief period of time, you turn back into a human. So if you're not doing something, if you're not actively attacking, if you're not actively using a werewolf skill, you're going to constantly be transforming back into a human all the time. Like, for instance, Poison Creeper is not a werewolf skill, Ravens is not a werewolf skill, Earthen Bulwark is not a werewolf skill, and so forth and so on. However, when you put your Mad Wolf's Glee on, you do get the werewolf form as your main form. Now, what does this actually do for you? Well, it basically changes it so that when you utilize an ability that's a human ability, it changes you into a human, yes, but it will always transform you back into a werewolf after a certain period of time. So you are always stuck in the werewolf state, even when using an ability that can pull you out of the werewolf state. It's going to pull you back into the werewolf state afterward. Now, what does this actually do for you? Well, it's a myriad of things. So let's go over first the +2 skills. So the +2 all werewolf skills really means +2 all werewolf skills. You don't even have to have points in the skill. Like, you can literally just have a skill like Blood Howl right now that you're not even using. So you don't even have to have the ability up, and it will still have +2 skills to it. In fact, I have +3 to this right now from various sources. So I'm literally getting +3 to skills to Blood Howl. I don't even have points in it to it. Because of the Mad Wolf's Glee, I literally have level 11 Shred right now. I've got freaking level 11 Rabies. I also have level 7 Claw for no particular reason. It definitely stacks up the points really fast to get you some pretty high amounts of plus to skills, which is pretty cool. I'm probably going to use this as my best in slot piece of equipment for my druid. Not only does it have the poison damage I want, the damage reduction that I want, the movement speed that I want, it also has +2 ranks to all my skills, and I just can't really see not using it. I don't think, however, it gives me as much benefit as I originally had thought. And so talking about the werewolf permanent form, what does the permanent werewolf form actually give me? Well, basically there are certain things in the game, like for instance the Digigrade passive that gives you 9% increased movement speed while werewolf form. Or, for instance, the necklace that gives you a 21.8% damage reduction while you are shapeshifted into your werewolf form. There are various aspects, items, and things throughout the game which are only going to affect you while you are in your werewolf form. You also gain a thing called werewolf armor, which is right here, which is bonus armor while in werewolf form, increases your armor by 12%. So, like, when I shapeshift into a human, if I go ahead and like just use one of my abilities, you'll notice that my armor goes down when I shapeshift out of the werewolf form, and it goes back when I shapeshift into the werewolf form. So the armor, what it is really giving you, besides the +2 skills and all the nice bonuses, is it's giving you the ability to benefit from all of those passives, the movement speed passives, the damage reduction while in shapeshifted form, the armor increase while in shapeshifted form. All of this is being basically stacked on your character all the time instead of just some of the time. Now, granted, you still lose them when you shapeshift into a human form to do a human skill, which is unfortunate. But because werewolf form is your true form, you're always going to transform back into your werewolf immediately thereafter. This also means that if you're AFK, or if you're not paying attention to the keyboard for 2 seconds, you won't just transform back into a human and lose all those buffs. And this is kind of what happens. So when you don't have Bad Wolf's Glee on, let's say I was utilizing the werewolf skill and I'm attacking, maybe I look away from the keyboard for a second because my girlfriend asked me a question. I'd be like, oh yeah, the remote, I'm pretty sure the remote is on the table, by the lamp. My character's already transformed back, and there's a very good chance that during that time period, if I'm in combat or something like that, I could potentially end up dead, especially if I have some pretty massive bonuses coming from the werewolf form. So, for instance, if I've got, like my 21.8% damage reduction, and I've also got my 12% armor bonus and my movement speed bonus, and then I also have maybe some other things that could be affecting me while I'm in werewolf form. I'm not entirely sure yet because I haven't really delved all the way into the werewolf to find all the amazing little things that could potentially come from it. But if you're not in your werewolf form all the time, you're not going to be getting those bonuses. And it kind of makes you want to not use non-werewolf skills, right? But the thing is that like some of these werewolf skills are just absolutely amazing. As you can see, this is a level 73 monster right here that I just demolished from existence. And I'm only level 53. I've been having a lot of fun on my werewolf so far. Now, I'm not entirely convinced that being a permanent werewolf is like as valuable as it seems. But the armor itself, even without the werewolf as your now your true form, kind of is really good. It has just about everything you want as a werewolf. It's got the poison damage and then the poison damage reduction, which is amazing. Which I'm definitely going to want to find a very good Mad Wolf's Glee with a high damage reduction from enemies that are poisoned, because I poison everything. That's the whole build. The character is literally called crit poison. Like, it's yes. And I was really happy to find it too, because this is definitely going to be a werewolf. Another little bonus tip for you guys, since we're at the end of this video, and since if you joined me to the end of this video, let me give you a quick tip. If you're making a character, make sure you choose the right hair color. The hair color that you choose determines the color of your werewolf's fur. There are entire guides out there on this, by the way. I considered making a video on it myself, but you cannot change your hair color after you make your character. Not yet, anyway. I'm assuming they will eventually allow us to change our hair color. But if you want your wolf to look a specific kind of way, you're going to have to choose a specific hair color. This particular hair color that I have is actually, I believe, called Poison. It's like a green, sort of like, poisony looking color. And it's a little more intuitive You know, obviously, if you choose a red hair color, your wolf's going to look kind of red, or your bear's going to look kind of red. But the thing is that it's not as intuitive as it would seem, and there's a lot of different hair colors. So you might want to pull up a guide and check it out so you can like get all the different hair color combinations. I believe there's 30 different hair color combinations, by the way. And why is this important to this video? Well, honestly, it is. Because as a permanent werewolf form, your werewolf form is going to be what's on display for the most part, unless you're in town. And you want people to see you the way you want them to see you, right? So you want to customize your werewolf or your werebear form, you know, to how you want them to be. I think that's pretty much it for this. There was a flavor text on it, and I didn't read the flavor text, so let's do that. He was not a victim of the curse. He sought it out. As his skin split and his bones cracked, his laughter never ceased. Tale of the Mad Nobleman. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when we're just talking about the Mad Wolf's Glee. And as always, keep watching.